Roman Conquest, War against the Germanic Tribes. Chapter 1, The Roots of Conflict. The Roman Empire, at the height of its power, sought to expand its borders into new and untamed territories. For centuries, Rome had been a beacon of civilization, stretching from the deserts of Africa to the misty hills of Britannia. But beyond the Rhine and Danube rivers lay a land that even the might of Rome could not fully subjugate, Germania. The Germanic tribes, a collection of fierce and proud peoples, had long resisted any attempts at domination. The Romans, eager to extend their rule and secure their northern frontier, soon found themselves locked in a bitter struggle with the tribes of Germania. Rome had encountered the Germans before. Julius Caesar, during his campaigns in Gaul in the 50s BCE, had briefly crossed the Rhine and faced Germanic warriors in battle. However, these were isolated incidents and did not signify full-scale conquest. The real Roman push into Germania began during the reign of Augustus, when the emperor sought to expand Rome's dominion northward. The goal was clear: to subdue the Germanic tribes, secure the northern frontier, and bring these wild lands under Roman rule. Yet, as Rome would soon learn, the Germanic peoples were not easily conquered. The terrain, the guerrilla tactics, and the fierce independence of the tribes would prove to be formidable challenges for the Romans, setting the stage for a prolonged and bloody war. Chapter 2, The First Roman Campaigns. Rome's first significant campaign into Germania was launched by Drusus, Augustus's stepson, in 12 BCE. Drusus, a skilled general, sought to extend Roman influence over the region and solidify Roman control along the Rhine. His legions advanced deep into the heart of Germania, battling various tribes along the way. Though his campaigns were successful in securing Roman forts and outposts along the river, the Germans proved to be a formidable adversary. The Roman legions faced constant harassment from the Germanic tribes, who employed hit-and-run tactics and ambushes, exploiting their knowledge of the dense forests and rugged terrain. Unlike the organized societies the Romans had previously conquered, the Germanic tribes were decentralized and fiercely independent, often fighting in small bands rather than large, organized armies. This made it difficult for the Romans to engage in the type of large-scale battles they were accustomed to. Despite these challenges, Drusus's campaigns were considered successful, and the Romans established a series of military posts along the Rhine, creating a border of sorts between the Roman Empire and the tribes of Germania. However, this brief period of Roman dominance was only the beginning of a long and arduous struggle for control of the region. Chapter 3, The Emergence of Arminius. In the years following Drusus's campaigns, the Romans grew increasingly confident in their control of Germania. They believed they had successfully subdued the region and could expand their borders further into the interior. However, what the Romans did not anticipate was the rise of a brilliant and charismatic leader among the Germanic tribes, Arminius. Arminius was a chieftain of the Cherusei tribe, born into the warrior class and raised as a hostage in Rome. During his time in the Roman capital, he was educated in Roman military tactics and even served as a Roman officer. He learned the inner workings of the Roman army and understood their strengths and weaknesses. But upon his return to Germania, Arminius did not bring back loyalty to Rome. Instead, he returned with a deep hatred for the empire that had conquered his homeland. Arminius quickly became a leader among the Germanic tribes, uniting them under the common cause of resistance against Roman domination. He exploited the divisions among the tribes, promising them unity and freedom from Roman oppression. His knowledge of Roman military strategy, combined with his deep understanding of the terrain, would soon turn the tide of the war. Chapter 4, The Battle of Teutoburg Forest. In 9 CE, Arminius's coalition of tribes faced the Roman legions in what would become one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history, the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. General Publius Quinctilius Varus, a Roman commander, was tasked with consolidating Roman control over the region. Confident in his abilities, Varus led 3 legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, deep into Germania, unaware that Arminius had set a trap. Arminius, using his intimate knowledge of Roman tactics, led Varus into the heart of Teutoburg Forest, where the dense woods would neutralize the Romans' superior formations. The Roman legions, unable to form their usual disciplined battle lines, were ambushed from all sides by Arminius's warriors. The Germans attacked swiftly and relentlessly, using guerrilla tactics to overwhelm the Romans. The battle was fought in difficult terrain, and the Romans, accustomed to open battles on flat ground, were at a severe disadvantage. The result was catastrophic for the Romans. Over 20,000 soldiers were killed, and 3 legions were destroyed. The Roman defeat sent shockwaves throughout the empire. For the first time in centuries, the Romans had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of a barbarian tribe. General Varus, unable to face the disgrace of his failure, committed suicide. The loss was so significant that Emperor Augustus famously mourned, shouting, "Varus, give me back my legions." The Battle of Teutoburg Forest marked the end of Roman expansion into Germania. The Rhine River became the boundary of the Roman Empire, and the Germanic tribes had demonstrated that they could stand up to even the most powerful empire in the world. Chapter 4. The Battle of Teutoburg Forest. In 9 CE, Arminius's coalition of tribes faced the Roman legions in what would become one of the most devastating defeats in Roman history, the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. General Publius Quinctilius Varus, a Roman commander, was tasked with consolidating Roman control over the region. Confident in his abilities, Varus led 3 legions, the 17th, 18th, and 19th, deep into Germania, unaware that Arminius had set a trap. Arminius, using his intimate knowledge of Roman tactics, led Varus into the heart of Teutoburg Forest, where the dense woods would neutralize the Romans' superior formations. The Roman legions, unable to form their usual disciplined battle lines, were ambushed from all sides by Arminius's warriors. The Germans attacked swiftly and relentlessly, using guerrilla tactics to overwhelm the Romans. The battle was fought in difficult terrain, and the Romans, accustomed to open battles on flat ground, were at a severe disadvantage. The result was catastrophic for the Romans. Over 20,000 soldiers were killed, and 3 legions were destroyed. The Roman defeat sent shockwaves throughout the empire. For the first time in centuries, the Romans had suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of a barbarian tribe. General Varus, unable to face the disgrace of his failure, committed suicide. The loss was so significant that Emperor Augustus famously mourned, shouting, "Varus, give me back my legions." The Battle of Teutoburg Forest marked the end of Roman expansion into Germania. The Rhine River became the boundary of the Roman Empire, and the Germanic tribes had demonstrated that they could stand up to even the most powerful empire in the world. Chapter 5. Roman Retaliation, the Campaigns of Germanicus. Despite the shock and humiliation of Teutoburg Forest, Rome was determined to avenge its defeat. In 14 CE, Emperor Tiberius appointed Germanicus, the son of Drusus, to lead a campaign to reclaim the lost legions and restore Roman pride. Germanicus was a skilled and charismatic general, and he immediately set about organizing a series of retaliatory campaigns against the Germanic tribes. Between 14 and 16 CE, Germanicus led several campaigns deep into Germanic territory. His forces inflicted heavy losses on the Germanic tribes, recaptured Roman standards, and inflicted brutal reprisals. The Romans fought several bloody engagements against Arminius's forces, including the Battle of Itus Diviso in 16 CE, where Germanicus won a hard-fought victory. However, despite his successes, Germanicus was unable to fully subdue the Germanic tribes or restore Roman control over the region. The logistical challenges of campaigning in the dense forests, combined with the continued guerrilla warfare tactics of the Germanic tribes, made it difficult for the Romans to secure lasting dominance. Germanicus's campaigns, though victorious in several skirmishes, ultimately proved inconclusive. The Roman legions suffered significant casualties, and the Roman Senate began to question the cost of continued warfare in Germania. In 17 CE, Germanicus was recalled to Rome, and the Roman Empire's focus shifted away from the region. The decision was made to abandon further attempts to conquer Germania. The Rhine River remained the northern boundary of the empire, and Rome's ambitions of expanding into Germania were permanently dashed. Chapter 6. The Legacy of the Roman-Germanic Wars. The Roman conquest of Germania proved to be one of the most challenging and costly wars in Roman history. The failure to conquer Germania marked the limits of Roman power, and it was a humbling reminder of the difficulties of expanding an empire into foreign and hostile territories. The Germanic tribes, though not unified, had shown that they could resist the might of Rome, and their victory at Teutoburg Forest became a symbol of Germanic pride and resilience. Though the Romans never fully succeeded in bringing Germania under their control, the war left a lasting impact on both Rome and the Germanic tribes. For the Romans, it was a reminder that no empire, no matter how vast, could conquer every land it desired. For the Germanic tribes, the war was a victory that demonstrated their strength and their ability to preserve their independence in the face of overwhelming odds. In the centuries that followed, the legacy of the Roman-Germanic Wars would play a pivotal role in the downfall of the Western Roman Empire. The Germanic tribes, though often divided, would eventually become a dominant force in Europe. The Visigoths, Vandals, and other Germanic groups would invade Roman territory, contributing to the empire's collapse. Ultimately, the Roman conquest of Germania ended in failure, but the conflict itself became a defining moment in the history of both Rome and the Germanic peoples. It was a war fought not only with weapons but with ideas, a war between two cultures, one seeking to expand and dominate, the other determined to preserve its independence and way of life. The battlefields of Germania, though stained with blood, would echo in history as a symbol of the unyielding will of the Germanic tribes and the limits of Roman ambition.